Welcome to the Veza Insider. I'm Stefan Katanic, and this is Stan Stojanovic. And today we're going to be talking about our sales process, our business development process, how we grew so quick in the last 12 months, and what our progress was. Stan, I think this is due to happen between the two of us on this podcast. We're connecting every day, talking about different tools, different strategies, tactics, and I think now it's time for us to flex to the world how much experience we've gained together in the last 12 months and where we're going to go in the next 12 months.
For sure, man. I mean, it's been quite a journey. I mean, what's been like a year and a half I've been in Veza, and for me it feels like I've been here forever, right? And just insane growth over the last 12 months specifically. But yeah, what's curious right now, I was in the beginning I was very curious, I was just a curious guy, wanted to understand different things. I was learning by doing, and then now we're at a phase expanding the team, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and I feel like we'll grow just even more.
Yeah, definitely. It's like what I was thinking about this. It's like every month that goes by, we get a little bit bigger. It becomes a little bit more complex. A little bit more complexities come into play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, our focus is just on growing the team and creating a top-notch onboarding and being enough, providing enough support for new people to onboard, so we can scale even more. What are your thoughts on? I mean, you've been here longer, of course. You're the founder, but when you take a look, like 12 months back, 12 and a half months back, and what are your observations in terms of what stood out the most? Is it our outbound process? Is it our relationship building with prospects? What do you think?
I think it's our standardization. We do something really well, and then that thing that does really well, we start to standardize it, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing is, though, it's like we try 5 different things, and like 3 to 4 of them fail, and it's whatever.
Yeah,
it's a part of the game, and then those 1 or 2 that succeed, they overcome those failures and it becomes better, right? And you do an amazing job with standardizing things. You're like a very process-driven individual, and your responsibility has built basically responsibility throughout the business development organization, part of Veza.
It's funny for me because I am process-driven guy by nature, but I improvise a lot, and I always try to think outside of the box. And when I see something is kind of working as a result of pure improvisation, I try to document that process and just enhance it a bit more, ask for advice. Like right now we hired 3 SDRs. I want them to participate. I want them to be able to share their feedback and their thoughts, because that's the only way how we can improve the process. Like they're doing that every single day, and they know what are the pros and cons. And I think that's the goal, how we can make our processes better and just smoother overall.
Yeah, and you're now doing something completely new. You hired 3 new SDRs. Yeah. They're doing discovery calls, appointment setting, all of these things. And how does it feel like for you stepping into a real leadership position now?
It's an amazing feeling. I was lucky to work with some very experienced individuals in the past throughout my career, and I feel like I picked up a lot of great things in terms of how to effectively manage a team.
Yeah.
But not to be there to just micromanage people. So I'm trying to be there to provide enough freedom to them, to provide enough autonomy in their work, but also to support and provide feedback and coaching. And as I mentioned, I'm trying to be just as supportive as possible, and I think that's the key to success.
Yeah, definitely. And you're the type of guy who has a nurturing not persona, but you have that inside of you. You're like a naturally nurturing person, right?
Yeah.
And it's just I see it. It's very subconscious and it's very indirect the way you nurture people, but it's a habit that you learned when you were a kid and as you were growing up and stuff like that. And I think it's one of your strengths. You're a natural nurture person.
Yeah, thanks, but I think that's for the most part. I played soccer almost 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
And that's where I really learned to be a true team player and just build those relationships and nurture those relationships. I think that's something that's super important, not just in business but in life in general.
Yeah, got you. And because you're like a nurturing person, you have that experience being in soccer. You're obviously a goalie, right?
Yeah,
goalie.
the worst position.
Well, actually, think about it. The person that has to score the ball has to pass 10 other people before they get to you.
Yeah, you gotta have some authority there, but you gotta be friends with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And like now, okay, so now we have a sales organization here at Veza. You know, you got 3 SDRs, you got a couple appointment setters there as well. You got an outbound specialist. You have yourself, obviously. What do you think is your biggest challenge now when it comes to just managing these people and like leading these people?
The biggest challenge is we all have our quotas, our numbers, right? I'm not concerned about us not hitting those numbers because I know we have enough quality and we can be there. I'm super confident, and we've showed it in the past. What I'm trying to improve myself as well in that is, again, I can't say this enough, but provide enough autonomy and flexibility to people to, they have processes, but they have to be, best at what they do. They can go outside of that process. Maybe something good will come out of that. That's my type of work, right? That's what I said. I improvise a lot. So the biggest challenge is just, providing enough autonomy, but still being able to keep everyone accountable for the goals and the KPIs we have for our growth.
Yeah, got you. And it sounds like you have a pretty good grasp on how you want to create this team and how you want to report all these things, right? Now it's just about every single day doing little by little to actually get to that point,
Exactly.
And like I always had like a vision for us at Veza to have different divisions, which is what we have.
Yeah.
And every division is its own autonomous unit.
Exactly. Yeah.
A part of a larger collective community.
And I remember that when I was joining, that's what we talked about. Like one of the first things we talked about. Actually.
Exactly. And it's like that too, because man, I've worked in some fucking toxic organizations where it's like, you're micromanaged every single day, and I've been through that. I didn't last long. I had to eject myself, and I told myself, I'm like, I would never ever like go back to that environment. And because I don't like it when people do it to me, I wouldn't ever create an organization that has that. Yes, there is pressure sometimes. We know that. That's in every organization.
Yeah.
But the whole like, hey, A, B, C, D every single day, like every hour of the day, I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of just like, showing results. Everyone's operating in their own lane kind of thing. And everyone's contributing to the greater good of the community.
I agree 100%. I mean, I guess everyone who's working in sales definitely had experience where they've been micromanaged and, they've been under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But again, that's something we're not trying to do here. Of course, there is some pressure there, but we have to work as a team. And I'm the type of guy that if somebody on my team does not perform, the first thing I'll probably blame myself for not providing enough support.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's going to be, improvement there. But again, if I only after a certain time, if I feel like I provided enough support and I gave the best that I can to support them, and they're not, generating results, then we can have a conversation about it. But again, it's about being accountable, not just, delegating tasks and not having any responsibility there.
And you know what the thing is? It's like the 3 people you have now under SDR role. What if these 3 people are going to step into your role?
Exactly.
So it's like you got to basically get that mindset that you have into the 3 of these people, and who knows, it probably might be 6 people by the end of the year. We don't know, depending how fast we grow, right? So it's like the 80-20 principle, right? It's like, how do you generate 80% of your results with 20% of your effort? And it's about finding that in all of your processes, your systems, and the results you get on a weekly basis, and just like doubling down on that with more and more people.
Now is the time to talk about automations and AI, right?
Yeah, of course, we're the masters of that.
No, I really enjoy automating the process and making it as simple as possible and as transparent as possible, but not forgetting to keep the human touch in there. That's the most important aspect for me. But I think automation in terms of everything that we can automate, we'll definitely automate, and we are doing that. But that's the whole point. Like with some of the things that are very time consuming, they definitely can be automated, and all the energy should be focused on really building those relationships. And that's what I'm talking with all 3 SDRs and anyone on my team, just to be there to focus on building relationships, understanding people's problems and just understanding if we have the solution for them. Everything else that is time, like there's no SDR in the world that loves updating CRM. Like that's a nightmare. Like, you did everything and now you have to go there and spend 25 minutes updating CRM. But it's important for us to have visibility. Those things can be automated, and that's what we are trying to create.
Right. Now that we're talking about automations, so a big part of your role is you've automated a significant amount of the work that you do around outbound, around inbound, around onboarding, all these different things, right? So for people listening right now, and for the startups that we work with and some of their teams that are probably listening, how do you approach setting up a sales funnel?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first step for me is whenever there's a startup, there's a company, they've been in a phase where they've been growing to some extent and now they need to grow more. Yeah. I always ask a question like, can you give me like 3 of your best clients? Mm-hmm. And we go into very deep analysis. Like we go very deep into aspects like, company, the date the company was funded, the date that they grew their sales team, for example, also like their organization size, all of those aspects, right? Their ideal customers, like what kind of problems they solve, what kind of, let's say if it's a software company, what kind of platform or solution they have, and just what kind of problems they solve for their customers. And on top of that, we try to dig deep into personas and people and their personal affinities, just to understand their style of communication, analyzing their social media profiles and everything else. So we have a very comprehensive analysis there. And once we have that, we have a foundation of how we want to approach. Yeah. Some companies can benefit from outbound, some companies can benefit more from inbound as well. So I think that's a great starting point before we do anything else.
Got you. And now with like sales processes, right? We use different types of tools for these things, right? Yeah. And so going into that sales funnel, right? So you have like the pre-frame, the research part you just mentioned. Yeah. Now we've tested. I know you've tested from A all the way to Z of different types of tools. Yeah. Right. When it comes to building a sales funnel, what kind of tools are we looking at? Like, what are your top picks for tools?
That's a tough question. There's a ton of great tools out there. Sometimes it's hard to pick. Mm-hmm. They all articulate what they do on their websites, and it's all similar. And sometimes it's very hard to really assess that until you try those. So we tried anything from Apollo, Instantly, Ample Markets, Lemlist, Dripify for LinkedIn automations, Expandy, Octopus here. Like there's a ton of tools there. If I had to choose a couple of tools that we would use, the top picks for me, it's definitely Apollo. I know it's a viral tool. A lot of sales teams are using that, but it can be used wisely. Like they have a fairly accurate database of contact information, and a lot of features that you can use with their extension, like on LinkedIn, on company websites, understanding, seeing companies' estimated revenues, funding status.
So if you were just starting off, let's say you started from day one right now, would you use Apollo, and that would be your only tool?
It's cost effective, yes. Yeah. Like if I didn't have any budget and I needed to get started, I would use Apollo, because that's it's the most cost effective and it offers the most value for what you're paying.
For sure.
On top of that, I would probably pick Lemlist. Mm-hmm. For me, it's a tool that, and general, like their team and the entire organization is very supportive. So the tool has some amazing features and functionalities to personalize your outreach at scale, and it's something that I would definitely recommend.
Cool. So using Apollo, so you're using Apollo now to build these lead lists, right? And you're reaching out to them via email on Lemlist.
Correct.
Nice.
So essentially, it's not just about building those lists and reaching out to people. I think that's one of the common mistakes with outbound. It has to be relevant.
Yep.
And how you make it relevant, like your social media accounts, let's say LinkedIn, let's say if you're in SaaS world, a lot of these startups and their CEOs and their decision makers and CMOs will be active on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So you really have to build your personal brand on LinkedIn. You really have to post some high quality, relevant content there that will resonate with people. You have to grow your network, and there's no better tool for that than let's say, lamb-list to engage with those people, because it kind of unifies everything in the same funnel. You have email, you have LinkedIn, and again, if you're active on social media and LinkedIn, I feel like you can build some relationships pretty fast.
I had a podcast earlier this week with Roy Sadler. He's the founder and CEO of Trumpet. We use Trumpet to make those microsites and those sales engagement.
Correct.
And he gave me a really interesting stat. He said that 77% of people that go onto your website and book a demo, they've already done all their research on you, your website, your social media presence, who's on your team, what kind of experience your team has, all of these things before they book a call. 77%. That's more than 2/3 of people actually doing their due diligence before they even book a call.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like when they go through that sales funnel and they see like the tools we use, how properly optimized everything is, how our email triggers go out after they submit a form.
Yeah.
When they go on your LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, anyone's LinkedIn here at Veza, they're already saying, they're already putting in their mind like an anchor of what to expect when they work with us.
Yeah, and that builds credibility. Like
It builds credibility.
Speaking of Rory, I love Trumpet. It's sorry Rory, I forgot that tool, but it's a great tool. Really, like allows you to standardize a lot of things. Like I built the entire sales onboarding process on Trumpet.
Yeah.
And every new hire has their own copy, and we have mutual action plans there. We collaborate. We exchange comments on the platform. So definitely recommend it.
It's crazy how much technology has impacted our own growth, not just us. Imagine like doing this 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You're using a pen and paper and like a whiteboard, or like not even a whiteboard, a chalkboard.
Yeah. I still like whiteboard.
Whiteboards are great. Whiteboards, we've been through a couple, but it's good, man. Stan, I want to know, like, you as a guy, where do you get your creativity from outside of work when you're not at Veza? What do you do to get creative, to like loosen up your mind, to get new ideas, to be innovative, all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's for me, it's all about having a balance, right?
Yeah.
So if I say I exercise a lot, that's just my desire. I would love to be more present there as well. But I do have like a weekly soccer game with a group of friends. So we go out, we play a game, we grab a beer afterwards, hang out a lot with my friends. We try not to talk about business, right? And it's just spending time with my family as well. I do a lot of walking, like being outside, traveling as well. That's everything that comes into inspiration. It allows me to recharge, and then every time I get back, I'm laser focused.
I notice you like change.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like that.
I don't like routine.
Yeah, same.
That's one thing about me, like change, and it sounds like a cliche, but challenge as well. Like if I feel like I mastered a skill, after a certain time it becomes boring, and I have to change a couple of things and try to improve it again. So I feel like we're similar
in that aspect, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm like that too. Routine for me. When I have routine, the routine I actually religiously stick through is my morning routine. I wake up, have my coffee, have my lemon water, right? Journal, maybe say a little prayer if I have to. Yeah. And then, I put that feeling of just like, hey, I did what I had to do this morning. I feel good. I go to work, right? And now work can be going to the office for a meeting, can be going somewhere in the city for a meeting, it can be working from home.
Yeah.
But that to me is my only routine that I don't want to change is that morning routine.
That's great. I mean, what I started doing recently is after my morning coffee, I go out for a run, but outdoors. I don't like treadmills and gym.
Yeah,
like,
you want to see new scenery. You want to feel the wind in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. And I go out for a run. It's just a 30 minutes run. Yeah. Actually, what I do, I listen to our VezaTalks podcast every single time I run. That's the time for me to also just have some time to listen in.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great guests, so learn a lot as well. And grab some great experience, and then back home preparing for a business day, and then either it's office or apartment. My apartment is like 5 minutes from here, which is great as well.
Yeah. We're neighbors.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's good. I actually told Luca the other day, I'm like, just listen to this. Like we literally live within 500 meters.
Yeah.
We do everything within 500 meters. Grocery shopping, restaurants, work, gym, everything, pool. Yeah. Like everything is within a 500 meter radius, and then there's the occasion where like once or twice a week I drive 35 kilometers north.
That's not bad, right?
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. I gotta try that. Maybe one morning I'll go running with you. I like the morning runs when it's nice and a little bit warm. Not like this rainy stuff, but I like it when it's.
Yeah. Let me know. It has to be like 7 o'clock, 7 a.m.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds like you can wake up.
I can wake up.
Okay.
I can wake up. This morning was a little bit rough, but I can definitely wake up when I have to. Stan, I want to ask you now. So, obviously you've been crushing it at Veza for the last 18 months, I'd say, right? About 18 months.
Yeah, year and a half.
18 months. Where do you, and this is a very cliche question, right? But where do you see yourself in 2 years when you're 30 years old?
Tough question, right?
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do, really. Like, I'm the type of person that I try to lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, 10 years from now, hopefully I can will have a bigger team, and I'll be more into... now, sales coaching sounds wrong. I don't like sales coaching, but, managing the team and seeing the growth, but still doing some of the things that I do nowadays. Like, I enjoy, being creative with outbound process, thinking of different ways to engage with people, building those relationships, building those partnerships, doing those discovery meetings. Why not as well? Like, spending time with people and understanding their challenges and understanding how and if we can help. So those are the things that I really enjoy, and I don't see myself changing that. I just see becoming better and better and growing the team and just focusing more on providing enough support and training to.
I actually see you as a sales coach.
Again, I don't like that word sales coach.
Sales leader. Let's call it sales leader.
Okay.
A whistle.
That sounds
boom,
better.
Not good. Blow the whistle to people. I see you as that because you've always had a disposition of being your own man and being your own sales leader between the people you work with, right? Even if they're collaborating with you in a separate division, you still bring that sort of leadership very indirectly though, right? Because obviously people do things consciously and unconsciously, and unconsciously I mentioned earlier, you have that nurturing ability, right? And then consciously you have the knowledge that you apply, right? And so if you continue working on these skills deliberately, right, by the time you're 30 or even like when you're 38, you're going to have so much more experience, not just experience, but you're going to have so much more reference points from other people around you that you've trained that you can then attribute to who you're going to be as a sales leader, right? And so I definitely see you like 10 years from now crushing as a sales leader.
Well, thanks. I hope I'm going to get there. It's been a great journey for me so far. Like, looking back 18 months ago and now, I can't even that's a huge difference in experience, right?
Yeah.
And agencies like that, it's a very fast environment, and but I enjoy it. Again, as I mentioned, I don't like routine. I like when things change. It's everything is sometimes something is going on all the time. So that's the environment I thrive in.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. And so as a sales leader, where do you get your knowledge from?
It's my own research.
Okay.
Like, I'm very.
Are there key figures you look at and learn from?
Definitely, in terms of negotiations, I really like Chris Voss and his approach. Very experienced guy and practical knowledge. I definitely recommend watching his masterclass. Many people probably have already watched that, but I feel like it's some great tactics that can be applied in everyday life, not just in work and not just in sales. I also like Daniel Pink. He has a very scientific approach to sales. So, I follow those people pretty much on a daily basis, and just trying to see what's out there and what's new.
Yeah. Have you heard of Brad Lee?
No.
Bradley's pretty good. He has this online training software for that company's white label, funny enough, to make their own online trainings. And he's been I know he built it to $50 to $100 million in revenue. Oh, cool. All by himself. I don't think he took any investment, nothing. He just sold the software. He's based in Las Vegas. You should check him out. He has a lot of good sales training. He's very similar to, okay, you know what? Let me put a big example. So Grant Cardone is all the way on this side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And on this side of the spectrum is you don't know anything about sales. Brad Lee is like a fine guy right in the middle.
That's good.
Like he's very chill and he's very easygoing when it comes to sales. He doesn't force anything.
Yeah.
You know, he's very like go with the flow kind of guy.
I follow Grant Cardone as well
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, on Instagram. You have to respect his success.
For sure.
Like, no doubt. Like, he has some principles that are very good. But again, it might be a bit aggressive for my taste.
Yeah, me too.
Sales, in my opinion, especially today, shouldn't be about, chasing people and, just, being very aggressive. If you're doing a great job and you have that problem-solving ability and the approach, somebody comes to us because they have a challenge and they have a problem. We're here to listen, understand, and then if we can help, we can help. If not, it's just not a good fit. That's how I see sales.
Nice. I like that. Stan, this was a great Veza Insider.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that we got to sit down and talk like this. It was like a normal conversation.
Yeah.
I hope that all listeners got value from it. Everyone at Veza got value from it. And we should definitely do this again.
Yeah. Sounds good, man.
Cool,
It's
man.
great. Yeah.